Before we start, I just want to say thank you for being here. It means the world. But take a look at this. Only 8% of people watching are subscribed. If you enjoy these stories and want to support more of them, just one click makes a huge difference. So this happened about 2 months ago, and I'm just now able to talk about it without my blood pressure spiking. I, 32M, was dating Melanie, 29F, for just over 3 years. We met through mutual friends at a brewery opening. She's a dental hygienist, and I restore vintage motorcycles for a living. Own a small but successful shop with 4 employees. Melanie moved in with me about a year ago when her roommate bailed on their lease. It was supposed to be temporary while she found a new place, but temporary turned into permanent. She never officially took over any bills. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal, because I owned my house, inherited from my grandfather along with the shop, and my business was doing well. For context, about 6 months after she moved in, Melanie lost her job. She said there was a personality conflict with the dentist she worked for. I later found out she'd been showing up late consistently. Anyway, I supported her financially for 3 months until she found a new position. During that time, I added her to my cell phone plan, set up Netflix, Hulu, etc. accounts for her, and got her a credit card as an authorized user on my account for emergencies, her word, not mine. Even after she started working again, she never offered to take over any of these bills or remove herself from my accounts. When I gently suggested she might want to get her own credit card now that she had income again, she got upset and said I was keeping score in the relationship. So I dropped it. Fast forward to last month. Melanie's friend Amber was getting married and they were having a co-ed bridal shower, which is apparently a thing now. I didn't really want to go, but Melanie insisted since most of her friend group would be there, including people I knew. The shower was at some fancy restaurant with a private room. About 20 people, mostly couples. I knew maybe half of them. Everything was fine for the first hour. Food, drinks, the usual shower games. Then they did this thing where they asked the bride and groom questions about each other, and everyone was laughing and having a good time. After that game wrapped up, one of Amber's bridesmaids, I think her name was Taylor, looked over at our table and said, "So Melanie, is this one going to put a ring on it soon or what?" Before I could even process the question, Melanie let out this exaggerated laugh and said, "Please, if he ever gave me a ring, I'd melt it down and sell it." The whole table erupted in laughter. Someone else chimed in with, "Girl, at least you could pay off your Nordstrom card." Melanie kept going, "Right? I mean, I love Mike, but marriage? To a guy who spends his days covered in grease? My parents would die." More laughter. I just sat there, completely blindsided. We'd actually talked about marriage before, casually, but still. She'd always indicated it was something she wanted eventually. And now she was mocking the very idea to her friends, mocking my profession. The conversation moved on, but I couldn't shake what had just happened. I excused myself to get some air and just left. Didn't say goodbye, didn't make a scene. Just got in my truck and drove home. My phone started blowing up about half an hour later. Text from Melanie. "Where are you? Did you seriously just leave me here?" "What the F, Mike? Answer your phone. Are you seriously throwing a tantrum right now?" I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table and thought about our whole relationship. How much of it was real? How long had she seen me as some kind of joke to her friends? How many times had she laughed about the grease monkey behind my back? By the time she got home, Taylor drove her. I was in my garage, working on a 1978 Honda CB 750 that needed a carburetor rebuild. Keeping my hands busy helps me think. She stormed in, already defensive. "What the hell, Mike? You completely embarrassed me." I just looked at her and asked, "Did you mean what you said? About melting down a ring?" "Oh my God, are you serious right now? It was a joke. Everyone was laughing." "Yeah, I noticed, at my expense." "Don't be so sensitive. You know how my friends are, we joke around." "Do you actually want to marry me someday, Melanie? Because it didn't sound like it." She rolled her eyes. "We're not having this conversation right now. I had to get a ride home because you had some kind of man feelings crisis. I'm going to bed." That's when I made my decision. I didn't say anything else, just kept working on the bike. She went inside, probably thinking I'd follow and apologize. I didn't. I spent the night in the garage, sleeping on the old couch I keep out there. In the morning, I went to my shop before she woke up, called my credit card company and removed her as an authorized user, called my cell provider and removed her line from my plan, changed all the streaming passwords, called my bank and froze my checking account, opened a new one later that day and transferred most of my money. I wasn't trying to be vindictive. I just didn't see why I should keep financially supporting someone who clearly didn't respect me or our relationship. I didn't hear from her all day, which was unusual. When I got home around 7 p.m., she was waiting, looking worried. "My card got declined at lunch today," she said immediately. "Yeah, I removed you as an authorized user." Her eyes widened. "What? Why would you do that?" "Because it's my account, and after yesterday, I'm reconsidering a lot of things." "Are you punishing me for a stupid joke?" "No, I'm reevaluating why I'm paying for everything for someone who thinks so little of me that she'd mock me to her friends." That started a huge fight. She called me controlling, manipulative, cheap. Said real men take care of their women. Said I was throwing away 3 years over nothing. I stayed calm, which only made her angrier. Finally, I said, "I think you should stay somewhere else for a few days while we both think about what we want." "This is my home too," she yelled. "Your name isn't on the deed, the mortgage, or any utility bill," I pointed out. "Legally, you're just a guest here." She stormed out, saying she'd be staying with Amber. I figured that would be the end of it for a few days at least. But around 2 a.m., my security camera pinged with motion at the front door. I checked the feed to see Melanie trying to get in with her key, except I'd changed the locks that afternoon. The benefit of having a buddy who's a locksmith. I watched through the camera as she tried repeatedly, then started pounding on the door and ringing the bell. I didn't answer. Eventually, she gave up and went back to her car. The next morning, I checked the camera again and saw her car still in my driveway. When I looked out the window, I could see she was sleeping in the back seat. I went out to talk to her. She looked rough, mascara smeared, hair a mess. "Why are you sleeping in your car?" I asked. "Amber's fiancé doesn't want me staying there," she mumbled, "and my card got declined at the hotel." "What about your parents? Friends?" "My parents are in Florida, and I don't want to explain this to anyone else." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "There's a Holiday Inn Express about 2 miles from here. I'll pay for 3 nights. That should give you time to figure things out." And then what? We just throw away 3 years together because of one comment? It wasn't just the comment, Melanie. It was the realization that you don't respect me or what I do, and maybe never have. I did pay for the hotel, even helped her move some clothes and essentials there, but I made it clear that we were done. And she needed to make arrangements to get her stuff from my house. Over the next 2 weeks, she cycled through anger, bargaining, and tears. Kept saying she never meant to hurt me, that her friends always talk trash about their partners, that it was all in good fun. Then she tried a different approach, claiming I'd financially abused her by cutting her off without warning and making her dependent on me. Said I owed her money for all the months she'd contributed to the household. When I asked what contribution specifically, she brought up groceries I paid, cooking, rarely, and emotional labor. I told her she was welcome to take me to court if she felt she had a case. She backed down pretty quick after that. It's been 2 months now. She's moved into a studio apartment across town and is dating some guy who works at her dental office. I got most of my money back from the credit card charges she'd made in the last few months. Thank you, consumer protection laws. Changed all my accounts, passwords, and subscription services. The shop is doing well. Just finished a custom build for a client in California that got featured in a motorcycle magazine. The house feels peaceful again. I've gone on a couple of casual dates, nothing serious yet. Sometimes I wonder if I overreacted. Then I remember the look on her face when she made that melting down the ring comment. Not just what she said, but the casual contempt behind it. The easy way she diminished me and my work to get a laugh from her friends. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Update 1 week later. Thanks for all the comments and support. Didn't expect this to blow up like it did. To answer the most common questions. 1. Yes, I did technically change the locks while she still lived there. Legally questionable, I know. In my defense, she had already said she was staying at Amber's, so I didn't think she'd try to come back at 2 a.m. If she'd pushed the issue legally, I would have let her back in. 2. No, she didn't pay rent or utilities at any point, not even informally. She bought groceries occasionally with my credit card. That's it. 3. For those asking what she meant by emotional labor, apparently this included things like remembering your mom's birthday and managing our social calendar. Never mind that I've never forgotten my mom's birthday in my life, and our social calendar was 90% events with her friends. 4. Several people asked about the ring comment. Yes, I actually was saving for a ring before all this happened. Had about $7,000 set aside specifically for that. That money is now going toward a new paint booth for the shop. 5. About her moving on so quickly, turns out she and dental office guy had been texting for a while before our breakup. Nothing I could prove as cheating, but the timeline is suspicious. And for the people calling me financially abusive, I supported her completely for 3 months when she lost her job. Paid for pretty much everything for the years she lived with me. Never asked for anything in return except basic respect, which apparently was too much. Melanie did try to contact me again last week. She showed up at the shop with coffee and apology muffins. Yes, really. Said she'd been doing some thinking and realized she'd taken me for granted. I thanked her for the apology, but told her nothing had changed. She left without drama. Sometimes the best revenge isn't some elaborate scheme. It's just enforcing your boundaries and walking away with your dignity intact. Living well really is the best revenge.